What's up, guys? Welcome to G Whiskey. My name is Jeff. This is a channel where I offer my thoughts and opinions on a specific whiskey, and if you stick around to the end, I'll be giving it a score as well. That sounds interesting. Hit subscribe down below. And with that out of the way, let's jump into our review. Today, we're looking at the Arran 10-year-old. Stick around. All right, so we're looking at the Arran 10 today. This is a bit of a re-review for me, but also kind of not. I'll explain that in a little bit. But yeah, this is a whiskey that's gained a lot of momentum over the last year or so. And it's basically at this point an entry-level staple for a lot of people. And rightly so, this is a great whiskey. So this is a little bit of a spoiler right off the bat, but I think it deserves all the attention, all the accolades it's getting. It's a great pour. It offers great value. Now, in my review of this one last year, I believe I only scored it about an 86. And coming back to it several times over the last year or so has been pretty interesting. So for today, what I want to do, I want to review or re-review this bottle. I'll give you my score, I'll give you my thoughts, but I also want to make some broader points about the Arran 10 that I think are important. But before we get into that, let's talk about this bottle for a little bit. I'm sure a lot of you guys already know this stuff, but this is matured in bourbon barrels and possibly a touch of sherry in there. They don't actually tell us what barrels they use to mature this in. It's naturally presented as all Arrans are, which of course is why we love them. And it's also won a bunch of awards over the last few years. Most notably, I believe the category was Best Entry-Level Single Malt Whiskey at the OSWAs, or the Online Scotch Whisky Awards. These were awards put together by Roy Aquavite and Ralphie, who you all know. So it's definitely got the popular vote. A lot of people like this one. And I really like this one too. I've had several bottles of both the older version and the newer version. Arran revamped their line back in 2019. The old bottles looked like this. They were delicious. And of course the new ones look like this. So it's a bottle that I've come back to, I don't know how many times over the years, but quite a lot. And I'll say this, it's an interesting bottle to come back to, and I'll explain why in a little bit. But for now, let's not waste any time. Let's jump into our review. And in the meantime, if you could kindly leave a like down below, that'd be greatly appreciated. Of course, we're going to have good specs here. You guys already know this. Our ABV comes in at 46%. It's going to be non-chill filtered, and our color's natural, so yay. So we have our beautiful natural color there. If you've watched any of my other Arran reviews, and I've done a lot, then you know that I absolutely love these bottles. I love the bottle shape. I love the minimalist label. I love that they give us plenty of info without much fluff. I always give these bottles 5 out of 5. So 5 out of 5. So I did not add any water. Let's try the nose. Ooh, okay. Very big fruitiness here, like big peaches, big apricots. We've got pears, green apple, definitely some honey in here. Some barley, some hay, some brown sugar. We've got a freshly baked croissant with butter and apricot jam here. I get a lot of sort of idyllic orchard imagery from this. Maybe a little touch of farminess in there too. Beautiful nose. Let's try our palate. All right, nice textured arrival here. Big fruitiness again. Kind of builds off the nose with like apricot jam, big peaches, vanilla, cardamom, definitely a little bit of butter, some tangerines here. We even get a little bit of like a sweet white wine note, like a Sauternes or maybe an ice wine or something. This is very complex. And now our finish. Okay. Some vanilla is coming through. More vanilla. Spices. Cardamom. Nutmeg. Fennel. We've definitely got some cream in here. We've got some biscuits in here. We've got a gentle oakiness, a gentle sweetness, a little bit more of that sweet white wine note, medium in length. All right, before I get to the big point that I want to make about Arran 10, let me just react to this bottle first. I think this stuff is brilliant. It's absolutely brimming with like these bright, fresh, vibrant orchard fruits. It's very fruit baskety. We also have beautiful spices in here. We have barley, we have brown sugar, we have honey, and that beautiful white wine note. And for me, the biggest standout is going to be that peachy note. I absolutely love it. It's like so sweet, so juicy. We have like fresh orchard peaches, canned peaches, fuzzy peach candy, peach jam, any kind of peach you can imagine. It's in here, which is great. It's layered, it's complex, it's full, it's engaging, and it's unique. Adjectives. But yeah, it is far from like those standard, generic, boring, entry-level whiskeys that are kind of like, you know, a dime a dozen, easy to find. This stuff is different, so I do want to commend Arran on producing what I consider to be one of the strongest 10-year-olds on the market today. This one can stand up to some of the greats like, let's say, Glencaddam 10. In fact, I probably like the Glencaddam 10 and the Arran 10 about the same. I'm a huge fan of the Glencaddam 10 profile, but I do think the Arran is more complex and arguably a little bit more interesting too. Of course, that's a matter of opinion, but yeah, I love this stuff. So my score is going to be 89. This is the best bottle of Arran 10 I've ever had. Now, in my review last year, I scored this an 86. So what happened? Well, this is a different bottle. And that kind of brings me to the big point I want to make about Arran 10. There are some pretty substantial differences between the different batches of Arran 10s. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say batches. It's not a batch whiskey. It is a standard release, but it's changed and it's still changing. And that's the thing about this stuff. I've had maybe, let's say, 5 bottles of the newer release, and none have been the same. Some have been similar, but none exactly the same. The Arran 10 orchard fruits and vibrant profile are always there, but the flavors and the quality aren't 100% consistent, although they are always good. So let me be clear about that. They are always good, but it's a whiskey that's changing. And I mean, that's been true of Arran for a long time. When I first tried the 10-year-old, I guess 12 years back, it was sharp as hell, and I wasn't a fan. Now, I've watched Arran refine their product over the years. Obviously, the rebranded 10-year-old is an absolute superstar. I just don't think it's totally stabilized yet. Which, you know, it makes sense. Arran is a pretty new distillery. They only got off the ground in the 90s, so they can't offer us the same consistency as some of the more commercial big boy brands like, say, Glenmorangie with their 10-year-old. Because, you know, Glenmorangie 10, it doesn't really change that much. Oppositely, the Arran 10 does, so it's an interesting whiskey to watch. And I'm saying that not as a criticism. It can be both a good or a bad thing. It's a good thing for now in the sense that the quality is always high. Of course, it would be bad if the quality dipped, but there's no indication that that's going to happen. But it can be bad if you're looking for that consistency because you're not going to get it here. I have yet to have 2 bottles of this that I would consider to be identical. I have a friend with another bottle on the go right now. We did a side-by-side and they're different. That one I'd probably score something like 87. So it's just kind of a hard one to nail down. Like when someone tells you Arran 10 is great, they're right. But the experience they're getting from their bottle is going to be different from the experience you're getting from your bottle. The bottles might be different. But personally speaking, I'm not mad at it just because their baseline for quality is so high that regardless of what bottle you're working on, you're still having one of the best entry-level whiskeys that money can buy. So it's a highly recommended whiskey. It's worth checking out if you haven't had it before. And it's also worth checking out if you have had it before because again, they're different. So of course, our value is going to be really good here. This is a cheap whiskey. It's surprisingly cheap. It beats out a lot of more expensive, lesser whiskeys. It's an amazing bang for buck buy. Not a lot to talk about here. Easy recommendation. All right, that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to help support the channel, please consider becoming a patron. Otherwise, you can like, comment, and subscribe. That's always appreciated. What are your thoughts on the Arran 10? Have you had more than one bottle? Did you find a difference in there? Let me know down in the comments below. Also in the comments, you can let me know what you want to see me review next. I'll keep it in mind for my upcoming videos. Bye, guys.